All right, everybody, very excited. To bring on a guy that still has the record for interception return yardage for the Giants, was a standout at Michigan. Shout out our boy David Cohn. Got the blue rocking in the house, Mr. Stevie Brown. Stevie, what's up, man?
Not too much. Just enjoying it. How you guys doing?
Doing good. I appreciate you coming on. I want to ask you, man, this week when these guys are getting drafted and you're going through this process, you know the work that it takes to not only make it out of high school into high-level collegiate football, but to be able to make it to the next level. What does it mean when your name is called or you get that phone call or you find out regardless, free agent pickup, that you are going to have a chance to play in the NFL? Because that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, it's no better feeling. For me, I wanted to play in the NFL since I was probably 7. Mm. So whenever I got the call on the third day, I was 7th round pick, but it took to the third day, but still it was just like when Coach Cable called me, I was like, yes, I'm ready. Like, it's no better feeling.
Yeah, and again, all that hard work, we talk about the prep, but looking at this class, it's been kind of interesting. We were talking with Trey Wingo the other day about it. Typically we have a consensus number one. You typically have a good idea of who's going to go number one, who's the top dog. You're hearing people talk about Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson. You even heard a few other names floated. When you look at this class, who is one guy, if you had the number one pick, if you were the Jags, that you would take one?
That's a hard one.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, in this class, for the Jags, with already having Josh Allen at DN, I think it would be nice to add another defensive end in there for them, but just make it a little bit easier for Josh Allen, not always having to be double teamed.
Mm-hmm. Seems like they're trying to do a lot in the league to help out guys named Josh Allen.
Hey, that man up in Buffalo, that's a bad man right there.
That is a bad man.
Man. But honestly, I wouldn't even know. And
you watch. I know you're a Michigan guy, Stevie. I know Aiden. Again, he's a dog. I get it. I don't think he's J.J. Watt, but I watched Trayvon. I watched Trayvon Walker, and again, you know how it is. Those guys that have heavy hands. Not that Aiden doesn't. Trayvon's got those heavy hands. When he puts those hands on you, you're not going anywhere. And I don't think they could really go wrong, because if the Jags don't take him one, the Lions are going to take Aiden two and keep him in Detroit. But another thing, Stevie, and then I'll kick it over to Cohn, which is kind of the opposite of what his job was when he was at Michigan and he was throwing you all those interceptions. But in this quarterback class, Malik Willis, you go from Auburn to Liberty. It's a totally different situation. I've watched this guy in Pro Day, and I got a question about Pro Day I'm going to ask you before we let you go. But how much do you believe in Malik Willis? Is he the best quarterback in this class?
They say he has the most upside. And, personally, just like me seeing quarterbacks, being around football, he needs to be able to learn how to read a defense. He can't read and then see it. He has to read and know what's going to happen. He has to anticipate it. And a couple years at Liberty, I don't know if he really has that. I'm not going to say he can't develop it, but right now, the speed, the arm strength, everything like that, he has. But as far as that knowledge of the game, understanding football from just more than a football player, taking it, elevating it above the X and O's, that's where I don't know if he has it right now to become the best quarterback in this draft.
Well, in the NFL, to me, and I think you'll agree, everybody's athletic, obviously. You don't have a bunch of goofy guys running around the NFL. But I would rather have at the quarterback position a guy that is unbelievable at reading coverages and may not be the most physically imposing guy, as opposed to the most physically imposing guy that struggles to read coverages. We can go through a litany of guys that have struggled with that, but it's always an interesting dynamic to me. And I wonder if that's where, and I know with Teddy Two Gloves and what we've seen in Carolina and some other places, the RPO is starting to make its way into the NFL, but I sometimes wonder with these RPO systems that we see in college, which Liberty operates out off a heavy RPO system, you're reading really one spot while feeling the other one, as opposed to getting in the pocket, having to read split safeties, understanding what you're getting, understanding the coverage, where to work on the weak side, stuff like that. So I think the offenses that are balanced, obviously, you have a better chance going to the league.
Stevie B, it's always good to see you, man.
You too, man.
Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. I want to stay on the quarterbacks. Now, you've answered this question for me privately before, and I asked KJ Wright the same question this week because you played against some of the best quarterbacks that have ever played in the game. Who was the most difficult quarterback to play against and why?
I love this question.
It's to pinpoint it on one. It's very hard, but certain quarterbacks have certain things that they do better than others. I remember one time we were playing against Peyton Manning, and the thing with Peyton was you wanted to hold your disguise as long as possible. Mm-hmm. We waited till like 2 seconds. The other safety took one step. Peyton did an automatic audible and knew exactly where to go with the ball. And so playing against guys like that is very hard. But for me, it would have been Big Ben.
That's what you told me before. That's what you told me before, yeah.
Big Ben, with me playing in the post the most and doing what I do, reading the quarterback and trying to get my break going, nobody else could wind up and do a full arm swing and then bring the ball back down and then go the other way. Like I would take off running sometimes with Big Ben, and he would just put the ball back down, and then he'd go look and throw it the other direction.
Yeah, well, what I used to say all the time with Big Ben, because that's a great point. You hear people say that. It's almost like watching baseball when they're in the rundown and they fake the throw and go all the way through. But a baseball's a lot easier to hold in your hand than a football is, and the runner just turns and runs straight into you. Yeah. And you're talking about, I don't know if you give Ben time. And it wasn't just like he would sit in the pocket and hold on to it. He'd have guys hanging on him and pump fake it and be able to hold it and still throw it. Yeah. That's the stuff you used to blow.
Well, that's the answer you gave me 5 years ago, so I love to see that you're consistent, man. Now, look, you are a star for the Giants and the Raiders. The Giants have 2 picks inside the top 10. The Raiders just got Devontae Adams. What do you think both of these teams are going to do here in the draft, and what would you like to see them do?
With the Raiders, they don't need too much on the offensive side of the ball. You got Devontae Adams, you got Walker at tight end, you got Hunter Renfrow, you got Josh Jacobs, and Derek Carr. I played with David. I always get him confused. Yeah. Offense is good. I mean, obviously you can always add offensive linemen, which is always needed. But they'll probably have to go over somewhere on the defensive side of the ball. Kind of same thing with Jacksonville. You get somebody outside, opposite of what's my man's name? Crosby.
Yep.
You get somebody outside of Crosby.
Or Max. I'm tripping.
Max. Yep. Right. Mason's
the kicker.
Yeah.
2 totally different positions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get somebody opposite side of Crosby, and you allow defenses or offenses can't just slide the fronts to him every single play. I think that would be a good pickup for the Raiders. My Giants need everything.
They do.
You believe in Daniel Jones, Stevie? You believe in Daniel Jones? Me neither. Me neither. Don't believe in him.
He can't even muster a no.
Yeah. I'd trust Bomani Jones to throw the ball before I trust Daniel Jones. That's
there's something to be said about intangibles and everything like that. I never want to talk about anybody. I never want to talk about it because football's hard. To get to this level is very hard. But my man wasn't a winner at Duke. And when you're not a winner and you're able to accept losing, especially at the quarterback position, it translates to the NFL. Like he's gotten to the NFL, he's shown bright spots, but at the end of the day, he's not a winner.
He's not what the Giants need. I agree 100%. Yeah. Blaine, what do you got?
Hey, let's talk a little safeties in this draft.
Let's do it.
Why not? And let's go for my first guy here, Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame.
Freak.
All right. Freak true. I'm not as sold as a lot of people are. Notre Dame, he didn't see a lot of great skilled receivers, and when he did, he saw them in the playoffs and didn't do extremely well. Do you think Kyle Hamilton is a true, because right now he's projected to go 8th in the draft. Do you believe he's a true top 10 pick?
I wouldn't take him in the top 10, no.
I wouldn't.
I would take him in the first round, but not in the top 10.
Yeah.
His physical skill set is of first round caliber. Mm-hmm. But whenever you start talking in top 10 picks, you're talking about somebody who can get down and play man-to-man coverage on a slot receiver, who can cover the tight end, who can basically do it all. It's not that he can't do it all, but right now he's a rangy safety that can make plays that way. But one-on-one coverages, especially with those slot receivers. I think that's where he'll get exposed coming into the league. So not top 10.
Yeah, his hips worry me a little bit in open space. And two, it's not like you say, all right, well, Kyle, you're just going to be in the sky. We're just going to run cover one every time. We're just going to put you in the sky. You can't do that in that league. So I agree with you. I mean, there's some room to grow there.
There's another question I've been throwing out all day today, and I want to get your answer to it. Do you think Baker Mayfield is a good enough starter right now in the NFL? To be a starter, is he good enough?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, okay, Stevie,
so,
is he good enough to be the guy you rely on to go win a championship, or at least get to a chance to win a championship?
No. I'm not saying that. But when
We have a yes and a no.
Yeah, well, neither's half the NFL.
yeah, that's what I was just.
Well, the way
to say.
you talk about Baker, you think he's Johnny
I
Unitas.
think he's good enough to be a starter.
Yeah, if you look at the 32 quarterbacks that are starting quarterbacks in this NFL or in the NFL, there's only so many of them that are tier 1 quarterbacks, and then past that, you got some all right guys.
Yeah.
And Baker falls into that category of an all right guy. Like, is he gonna fourth quarter AFC championship game? Is that who you really want in the game? Like, personally, if I had my choice, Baker probably wouldn't crack my top 8 or 9 quarterbacks, but he's serviceable. Mm-hmm. He's serviceable.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, Stevie, man, I really appreciate you coming on. We need to do this
ask
again,
one more
brother.
question.
Oh, go ahead, Coney. I'm sorry. You
one
got
more
it, dog.
question, just to get you on record, Stevie.
Oh, here we go.
At the alma mater. All right. Michigan football made the playoff this past year. A little bit of drama in the offseason. Jim Harbaugh wants to leave, then he doesn't want to leave. The coordinators are gone. Just, give it to me straight, man. BG and I were talking about this last fall. What do you expect from the Wolverines this upcoming season?
This is going to be the first year where I think I'll expect more from the offense than the defense. And then to that, I don't know. I don't think we will. It's hard to say it, but I don't think we're beating Ohio State this year.
I agree.
I don't
hurt. I was a little hurt.
Well, you
right
got
there,
your dub
pain.
last year that you'd been.
Yeah, so we're good for another decade.
son's
Stevie.
born.
We're good for another decade.
Your son's born. You beat Ohio State. The Braves win the World Series. You greedy bastard.
I don't ever
David
want
Cohn.
to
It's
complain.
amazing.
My son better not
amazing what he
complain for
called him,
40
David.
years.
It's amazing.
Yeah, Steve.
It's amazing what he called him.
Well, look, he's his own person. He can call him that.
He'll
call him
say
the
Ohio State.
Buckeyes,
You won't
okay?
say it.
And we have our most annoying fan bases coming up, and you're going to hear me talk plenty about
Yeah,
it.
I can't.
Trust
There'll
me.
be no homer picks on that one. Yeah, so
Stevie knows.
So much homer into your son. You just name him Bart. But Stevie, I appreciate it, buddy. We got to do this again. It's going to be a hell of a draft, man. You were a hell of a player, and let's hop on again soon. Let's link again soon.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Hey, everybody, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and ring that bell. We're excited to be here. It's Crain Company live, 2 to 3 Central, daily. Ring that bell. I want to hear it from coast to coast.